What's up guys, I am BlackOpsAmazing. Welcome back to another Zombies Q&A on the channel, where today we take your questions from the comment section below to do with the zombie storyline, Easter eggs and much more, and we answer them. So as always, if you enjoyed today's video, you know what to do. Drop a like rating, make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest zombies content on the channel. Also, click that bell notification icon and follow me on Twitter as well. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Here we go. So the first question of many for today from Not a Veteran says, on the Didnt Easter egg, how did the Keeper get corrupted when it got teleported to the moon and back? Love your videos, much love from Portugal. Your English is fine. But what you're asking me is, as part of the Easter egg in Didnt, it requires you to awaken a ghost Keeper, and then in one of the steps that Keeper will teleport to the moon, where its intentions are to bring the MPD pyramid from there back down to Earth to the castle in Didnt. And so that's what this Keeper does. It teleports from Didnt to the moon and then teleports the MPD back down to Earth inside of the castle. But when the MPD pyramid opens, it reveals the Keeper is actually inside and he's now corrupted. This Keeper that was helping us out has turned evil. And the reason why he became corrupted is simply because he touched the MPD. We know everyone who touches the MPD pyramid, Samantha, Richthofen, Maxis, whoever touches it, because it has a connection with the dark ether, they become corrupted. And so because the gatekeeper touched the MPD, because he was inside of it when it got teleported back down to Earth, he had now become corrupted and turned evil. And so that is the reason for that. The next question from Alonso says, what happened to the mobsters in Black Ops 4's Blood of the Dead? So we know in our new remastered version of this map, we are playing as the Primus crew, and what you are saying is, well, what's happened to the original 4 mobsters? Why are we not playing as them? Will we see them? We don't exactly know the date as to when Blood of the Dead is going to be taking place, but more than likely it's going to be after the mobsters have died. It would only make sense for them to have come here after the 4 mobsters are dead, because Richthofen still has the blood vials on him. And so to answer your question, that means that the other 4 mobsters are dead. We know that in real life they were all killed. Al was killed on the rooftop by the other 3, and then the rest was sentenced to death by electric chair. And then after that, after they died in reality, they were sent to purgatory, where they were trapped in this endless cycle. So what happened to them? Well, they're all dead, they're gone. However, if you take a look at the Blood of the Dead trailer, you will actually notice that the prison isn't in its reality state, and it looks like it's in purgatory. It looks like Richthofen and the crew are here in the afterlife. And if that's the case, well, could we actually be seeing the original Mob of the Dead crew? They are trapped in this endless cycle in the prison in purgatory. If our characters are also coming in here in purgatory, then we could also see them as ghosts, right? I mean, as far as we know, the only way you can enter purgatory is if you have died, and well, our Primus crew aren't dead, they are all still alive, so why are they here in purgatory? Have they died? If so, when and how? We know they've died plenty of times in our storyline, but they don't get sent back to purgatory, they just get sent back to the beginning of the cycle by Dr. Monty. So even though the mobsters are dead, it looks like we could be going there in purgatory, and if that's the case, well, we could actually see the original characters in some way. Yes, we are playing as Primus, but I do think in some kind of Easter egg, we could be seeing the original 4 mobsters, and who knows, maybe they might even help us out with the Easter egg that we have to do. I really don't know. The next question from Robert Macias says, why did Richthofen take the summoning key and leave the Shadows of Evil characters to die without saving them? Well, the reason I believe Richthofen didn't save the Shadows of Evil characters is because they weren't important to his mission. We know after Richthofen came into Mog City, took the summoning key, and then left, the Apothecans then destroyed the Shadows of Evil universe. They destroyed that dimension, killing the Shadows of Evil characters. Since Richthofen was there, and technically they did help him out, they were the ones who secured the summoning key, they were the ones who got it, so surely couldn't Richthofen have at least helped them out to say thank you for them doing that? But we know that Richthofen is a selfish person. He only really cares about himself. He wasn't originally going to save the other 3 characters of Takeo, Nikolai and Dempsey. He only got a blood vial for himself, and it was only in Zetsubo no Shima when he finally decided to save them. So you have to remember that Richthofen is a pretty selfish guy, and during that time he was only thinking about saving himself, especially not some other random characters that he doesn't even know. So that could be one reason. I also think maybe Richthofen didn't have time to save them. He knew exactly what he needed to do with saving himself, saving the children, and exactly where he needed to go. Maybe he just didn't have time to save another set of characters. Maybe if he'd have done that, it could have meant that the rest of his mission was messed up. Again, I'm not sure. Maybe saving them characters could have messed up the timeline. Honestly, I really don't know. There could be quite a few reasons. But yeah, Richthofen's pretty savage. He left them to die. The next question of today from Koi Kelly says, "Hey BOA, love your vids. And to start my 2 questions off, I want to know who made the paralyzer, and number 2, who is Samantha's mother?" So I've tried to answer these plenty of times. The paralyzer, we don't know who's made it. I've made many videos on this. There's no evidence at all as to who could have made this. I mean, obviously it's a pretty old weapon, so it could go back to the old Western times. Then again, it looks like it could use 115. We don't really know how it works. So because of that, it looks like it could have had something to do with Group 935, but we don't know. I don't think it was built by them. We really don't know anything else about it. And who is Samantha's mother? Well, we don't know her name. All we know is that she died giving birth to Samantha. So her mother died during childbirth and she was brought up by her father Maxis. The next question from the Machine Zombie says, "Hey BOA, what do you think happens to the old maps? Are they just overrun with zombies and abandoned, or what?" So actually that's a good question. After our characters do everything they need to do in a map and then leave, what happens to that place? For example, once they went to Kino, they then left onto the next map. Well, what happened to Kino der Toten after that? Because we never hear about these maps again once our characters move on. Well, we know that in the original timeline anyway, Samantha sent the zombies to chase the Group 935 crew. So she sent the zombies to the Kino facility when Richthofen was there to kill them. And so once Richthofen left there to go to Shangri-La, the zombies would have followed him. So they would have left Kino and Samantha would have now sent them to Shangri-La to attempt to take Richthofen down. So the previous map would be abandoned, it'd be ruined, destroyed by the zombies, but they still wouldn't be overrunning that facility. They would have moved on to the next map. However, in our new zombie storyline, since Samantha isn't in control of the zombies anymore, she isn't sending them after us. In fact, we don't know who's in control, if anyone, so maybe the zombies do stay at the facilities they overrun. Maybe they did stay at Der Eisendrache, Zetsubenoshima, Gorod after we left. Phase Boost says, "What is the big hole in Mob of the Dead?" So in Alcatraz, I'm sure most of you would have noticed this by now, but on a certain area of the map, there's nothing like this anywhere else. There is this massive hole in the ground that is filled with lava. There is this burning lava pit under the prison that is just there. As I said, there's nothing else like this on the map. Yes, there's fire, burning, debris, stuff like that, but there's not, you know, cracks in the ground with lava coming out of it. It's not freaking transit. We just have this giant hole in the ground with no explanation. Now, this is actually part of a small Easter egg where if you throw grenades in here, you get 20 points each time. But why exactly is this hole here? Now, we know that Mob of the Dead is set in Purgatory. We usually refer to it as this hellish version of Alcatraz. It's set in the afterlife, Purgatory. I guess you could say it's kind of like hell. We have all of these evil references on this map, like 666, which relates to the devil. We have the dog heads on the wall, which represent Cerberus, the dog of Hades, who keeps the souls in the underworld. Mob of the Dead is like a reiteration of hell. And so I guess this big burning lava pit kind of fits this, but that doesn't explain why it's here. Are they trying to tell us that this is the gateway to hell? That if we went through this, we'd reach the center of the earth? We'd reach hell? We also know if we throw our Hell's Retriever in here, this is part of the steps to upgrading it, which shows that there's a lot more to this than just a lava pit. Is there something on the other side? But this is also strange because we know that in Mob of the Dead, Richthofen has built a lab. He's built a secret laboratory under the prison. But if under the prison we have this lava pit, if there's lava burning all under this prison, then where exactly would he have built his lab? Well, I would think the answer to that is the fact that Richthofen built his lab in reality. Everything we are seeing here is in Purgatory, so it's not actually real. Richthofen built his lab in reality, so in reality we wouldn't be seeing this lava pit, right? That'd be my guess. But even with that, it's still quite strange. Like I said, it just stands out. It's the only thing that's like this on the map. Treyarch must have been thinking about something when they decided to add this. And this actually reminds me of that giant hole in Russia that's been burning for like 40 years. And this hole, as you can see on screen now, looks quite similar to this, but it's named the Door to Hell. It is a fiery crater that was caused by drilling blunder. I believe there was a load of oil that was stored here, somehow set alight, fell through the ground and is still burning 40 years later. But the locals that live here call this the Door to Hell. Maybe that's where Treyarch got their inspiration from for this. Is this the Door to Hell? Like I said, this isn't a normal hole. If you throw things in here, stuff happens. So is this hole in Mob of the Dead our gateway to hell, since everything in this map is a reference to the devil? Anyway guys, that is it for today's video. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, you know what to do. Drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel. Can we go for 1115 likes on this video? Click that notification icon, leave your comments down below, follow me on Twitter, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, goodbye.